For our second Halloween retrospective, I'm heading back to the magical and familiar world of Disney. Remember every Halloween when Disney Channel would have Monstober, or Hauntober? They always would do Halloween-themed episodes of their shows and new Halloween movies, like Halloween Town, Twitches, Don't Look Under the Bed, and Girl vs. Monster. One of my favorite Disney Channel shows growing up was That's So Raven. You might remember that a few years ago I did a look back on 10 of my personal favorite episodes of the show, and there are some that I still feel bad about not including, and I'm sure you guys have a lot of favorites as well. This is one that I see a lot of memes for online, and with Halloween coming up, I thought it would be fun to look back on That's So Raven's Don't Have a Cow, a Halloween-themed episode from the show's second season. At school, Eddie gets invited to popular girl Alana Rivera's Halloween party, much to Raven's annoyance, knowing that she won't be invited due to Alana hating Raven and Chelsea. Just then, Alana and her posse, Loca and Muffy, show up, with Loca greeting Eddie with a hard punch on the arm. Nervously, Eddie thanks the girls for inviting him to the party, and Chelsea comments that she and Raven haven't received their invitations. Alana looks stunned and asks Muffy, "Is she talking to me?" With Muffy telling Raven and Chelsea, Alana feels that if you have something to say, don't. As Alana and Muffy walk away, Raven claims that she and Chelsea wouldn't even come to her party even if Alana begged them, much to the shock of Alana, as Raven adds, "or asked us nicely." Taking a stand, Eddie decides to bail on the party, but Loca headlocks Eddie, convincing him to go. I never really liked that character Loca. I always thought she was too loud and aggressive. At Raven's father Victor's restaurant, The Chill Grill, Raven and Chelsea decide that they probably wouldn't have any fun at Alana's party, only to learn from Victor that she's having it at the restaurant as he serves Raven a burger and for Chelsea, a veggie burger. For those of you who don't remember, Chelsea is a vegetarian. Raven feels hurt that Victor let Alana have her party at the restaurant due to her and Chelsea not being invited, but Victor states that he won't even be there. His manager will be holding down the fort while he takes Corey trick-or-treating. Victor offers to cancel the party to support Raven, but Raven lets him go ahead with it. And Victor says, "Good, because I already cashed the check." Raven laments to Chelsea that she thinks Alana only chose the Chill Grill to screw with Raven, but Chelsea disagrees, enjoying her burger until realizing that her and Raven's burgers were accidentally swapped, meaning that Chelsea ate meat and Raven ate something healthy. At the Baxter's home, Victor and Corey are all costumed up to go trick-or-treating, with Victor as Dr. Frankenstein and Corey as a bodybuilder, but Corey decides that he and Victor need to have the talk. Panicking, Victor calls for Tanya, but Corey continues that he'd rather go trick-or-treating with his friends. At first, Victor feels left out, but expected it to happen one day. I just wish it could have come before I put on this stupid costume. Just then, Corey's friend William shows up in costume as a working remote control. Or sort of working. William presses a button on the costume, and it only causes the lights in the house to flicker. After Corey and William leave, Tanya, in costume as Igor, shows up with candy for trick-or-treaters, questioning why Victor is alone. Victor answers honestly, and Tanya offers to take Victor trick-or-treating to make up for Corey going with William, and the two take off. Meanwhile, Chelsea feels bad about eating a cow and enjoying it, wearing a pin on her shirt with a cow's face on it, and Raven tries to pep her up to have some fun of their own instead of going to Alana's party, looking through Raven's grandmother Viv's trunk, who, like Raven, is also a psychic. While looking through the trunk, Raven and Chelsea find a book of potions and spells. As the pair look through it, Chelsea finds a wishing spell, telling Raven that they can use it to wish for whatever they want. That gets Raven thinking as the pair decide to try the spell themselves. They seem to have everything they need for it, including the feather of a bird and 3 small stones, but they stop once they get to a single strand of a maiden's hair. Neither Raven or Chelsea want to give up a strand of their hair, but Raven distracts Chelsea enough to pull a strand of hers for the spell. This seems to get the spell going, and to test it out, Raven wishes for her and Chelsea to be invited to Alana's party. However, that stops the cauldron completely. Finding this strange, Raven checks the spell book and learns that the spell won't work unless they say the magic words, to which Chelsea adds, "Please and thank you." I mean, normally that would work, but not in this case. Raven reads from the book, "Bubble and boil, O magic stew, make our special wish come true." This gets the cauldron going as the phone rings. Raven goes to answer it, with Alana on the other line, seemingly hypnotized as she invites Raven and Chelsea to her party, much to the shock of Muffy, who rudely hangs up on Raven as she tries to get Alana out of her trance. Why does Alana need Muffy to speak for her? Alana's a big girl. Realizing that the spell worked, Raven and Chelsea go to make another wish, this time to be the most popular girls at the party, with Chelsea adding to have the best costumes, as Raven continues that they want all eyes on them. After using the magic words, the cauldron responds as Chelsea's cowpin falls in it, unbeknownst to her. While figuring out what to wear to Alana's party, Chelsea notices that Raven has cow ears, believing it to be part of her costume as she laughs when Raven notices it herself in the mirror. Chelsea still thinks that they're fake until she tries to pull them off, making Raven scream either in pain or from shock. Just when Chelsea sits down on Raven's bed, she tells Raven that she's sitting on Chelsea's tail, much to the shock of both girls as Chelsea immediately discovers that she has a cow's tail, with both girls later noticing that Chelsea also has cow ears. And Raven also has a cow's tail. While the girls panic, Eddie shows up and the girls try to figure out how they can avoid him noticing the change. Raven calls to Eddie that they'll be right down, and Eddie calls, "Alright, just move your tails." Down in the kitchen, Eddie, in costume as a sorcerer, probably the Disney character Yen Sid, has a taste of the potion Raven and Chelsea were making, but he doesn't like how it tastes, claiming that it tastes like feet. Wearing towels on top of their heads to hide the change, Raven and Chelsea make their way down and awkwardly say hello as Eddie suggests that now with the girls being invited to Alana's party, all three can go together, but Raven declines. Eddie notices the girls' strange behavior, and Chelsea states that every part of them is exactly as weird as it always has been. Still wanting to keep the change from Eddie, Raven escorts him out, claiming that she and Chelsea need to get their costumes ready, but Eddie asks if he can use Grandma Viv's spellbook as part of the sorcerer's costume. And Raven gives it to Eddie, saying, "Take it, just move." After Eddie takes off, the girls try to figure out what happened with the spell, and Chelsea discovers her pin that fell as they were wishing for all eyes to be on them, much to Raven's annoyance, as she exclaims, "Why couldn't you have been wearing a Halle Berry button?" Chelsea figures that if they check the book, perhaps they could find an undo spell, which Raven calls a spell check. However, Raven gave Eddie the spellbook. We are definitely doomed. Raven suggests that they go get it from Eddie at Alana's party, but Chelsea points out that they can't go looking like cows. However, Raven adds that they could on Halloween. True. Meanwhile, Corey and William get back from trick-or-treating, but William's costume set off all of the neighborhood's car alarms and security systems, only getting one pack of breath mints, while Victor and Tanya had more luck. But when Corey tries to get his hands on the candy, Tanya states that Corey has to ask Victor first. Victor sympathizes with Corey and William after their unsuccessful night, and Corey and William dig in. However, Corey claims that the candy doesn't taste as sweet, with Tanya adding that perhaps that's because Corey didn't get it with his dad, but Corey points out that it's because it's sugar-free. But then Corey apologizes for leaving Victor out, asking if they can go trick-or-treating together again next year. But Victor knows that there's still lots of candy out there and the two go together, inviting William to tag along as long as he doesn't touch his costume. At Alana's party at the Chill Grill, Raven and Chelsea show up with cow snouts, little do they know until they get there, even portraying cow-like behavior when Chelsea eats at somebody's straw hat. And the change continues when the girls discover that they have hooves instead of hands when trying to pick up a cup, while Raven drinks from the punch bowl, licking her lips with her extended cow's tongue, while Raven chews on cud. Finally, the girls find Eddie and the spellbook. While Chelsea looks through it, Eddie compliments the girls on what he thinks are costumes just as Muffy tries to get everyone's attention, but everybody is so occupied by the music and dancing. Loka manages to stop it by yelling, "Yo! Cut the noise!" But when everything gets quiet, Raven once again moos, confusing Loka and Muffy, as Muffy announces the results of the costume contest. During her speech, Muffy says that Alana will be the first place winner anyway, but no one seems really interested in Alana's costume. But just for giggles, let's see who came in second. Much to Muffy's shock, the second place winner is Alana, who melts down over not winning her own costume contest for her own party. Alana is angrily stunned to realize who won first place. Raven and Chelsea, both of whom have now completely transformed into cows. Hey, they wanted all eyes on them. But it turns out that this was all just one of Raven's visions, as we find her and Chelsea back in the Chill Grill, with Chelsea just about to take a bite of her burger before Raven stops her, warning her that it's meat and switching the burgers. Raven asks, "Do you know what would have happened if I'd eaten that?" Raven answers in a panic that she and Chelsea would have ears and snouts without mentioning cows, and Chelsea calms her down, saying, "Don't have a cow." This episode was the first appearance of Alana and Loka and Muffy. We would see them a few more times throughout the series, and her hatred for Raven, as well as Locust's crush on Eddie, continues to grow when both Alana and Raven fight over Devon Carter, who Raven ends up dating. Alana's actress, Adrienne Bailon, and Raven Simone also co-starred together in the Disney Channel's Cheetah Girls franchise, although Raven only was featured in the first 2 films before releasing her own solo music outside of the Cheetah Girls. In Season 3, Alana left the series, with Muffy's explanation being that Alana was so bad that she was sent to military school and was replaced by Bianca, who, according to Muffy, was so bad that she was kicked out of military school. Bianca only lasted a few episodes, but Muffy would appear more often afterwards as a main rival to Raven. Alana would return in Raven's home as principal of their school, now attended by Raven's son Booker. Apparently, after getting out of military school, she studied education in college, earning a master's degree. And she has a daughter, Cammy, who becomes Booker's girlfriend. Because of her past with Raven, Alana seems to not trust Booker. And that concludes another Nostalgia Talk Halloween retrospective and another That's So Raven retrospective. I'd love to review more of these episodes. Thank you for listening, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.